Welcome to the Three Musketeers, the sibling podcast that understands your Disney addiction. This is a two-part bonus episode that we're doing for our recent Disney trip. I am your middle brother, Jared.
And I'm the eldest, Amanda.
So this is something that we're going to do in two parts. We had a total of, I had 7 days, Amanda, you had 8. And we kind of wanted to talk about the reservations that we had and some fun stuff that we did on our trip that we haven't really done before. So I guess let's go ahead and get into day one. Amanda, what was the first thing that we did on day one?
Well, the very first thing we did was not get into the parks because my daughter's ticket didn't work.
Yes, that is
So
true.
that was fun. Kind of ruined some fast passes, but Disney Magic got some extra little free fast passes in there. So it kind of all worked out. But for dining, our first stop was the Rose and Crown for lunch.
Yeah, so I guess this is in England. And we got reservations along with the candlelight processional dining plan. Correct?
Right.
Yeah. So I really liked the Rose and Crown. That was my first time to be there. What about you?
That was my first time as well. It was probably my least favorite of the restaurants we tried this time, actually, like sit down restaurants. But the atmosphere was really nice. We sat outside on the deck overlooking the water, and I can see how that would be an amazing spot to have dinner during Epcot Forever.
So, what did you not like about it specifically?
It wasn't that I didn't like it, it was just not as good to me as the other ones that we went to.
Okay. I really enjoyed it, actually. I had the salmon, it was really good. The cheese platter that they gave us was, I think, 2 out of 3 stars, only because you get 3 different cheeses, and I liked 2 out of the 3 of them. one one had pickled vegetables on top, and I don't do pickled anything, so I didn't even attempt that one because I knew I was not going to like it.
Yeah, so with the candlelight processional dining package, you get special seating at the candlelight processional. But for your meal, at least at Rose and Crown, you got an appetizer, you got an entree, and you got a dessert plus a drink,
Right.
non-alcoholic drink. That's a little different than most meals on a dining plan, which is separate than the dining package for candlelight processional.
Right. And so that kind of brings us into the candlelight processional itself because, I mean, Rose and Crown was good in my opinion. I can see why you didn't necessarily think it was the best because we had a lot of really good reservations this trip. But the candlelight processional was really fun too. We had the night that Gary Sinise was there doing the narration.
That was really awesome to see him, especially after he was coming off of his trip bringing children and families of fallen soldiers.
Yeah, and he does that through his foundation. He does a lot of stuff specifically for military families.
Yes, he does. And since my family is a military family or previous military family, it kind of hits close to home.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about the candlelight processional a little bit. What was your favorite part of the show?
This was actually my second time seeing the candlelight processional. And to me, it just puts you in the Christmas spirit. All the Christmas carols, hearing the Christmas story. It's just a nice little uplifting event.
The thing that I liked least about the candlelight processional is the massive amounts of people.
Oh my gosh, I have never seen Epcot so crazy around there. It
You
was
couldn't move.
bottlenecked. You couldn't move. There was lines on both sides of the pavilion waiting to get in, and then whenever our show was letting out, there was another group waiting to come in, so you could not move. It was like single file both ways trying to get through. And they had another show which seemed like crazy planning to me going on right at the exit. So there were people standing watching that show and then people trying to exit, trying to get in. It was craziness.
Yes. And they had construction going on as well,
Right.
which makes it even worse.
Correct. But that's not the show itself. So, what did you think about the show itself?
The show, I don't want to say it was bad because it wasn't. It's just not my cup of tea.
Okay, that's
It's
fair.
it's not something that I would typically go watch. I don't know. It's just narration of stories that I don't really care about, and then songs that I'm not really fond of. Uh, I mean, beautiful music, whether I like it or not, it's beautiful. The show is great. It's just not my thing.
Yeah. It's not for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad I went. I'm glad I was able to go with you and your family and dad and Marie and then my daughter, and it was fun, but I don't know if I would necessarily go again.
Okay. And just to mention, you don't have to pay for the package to get into the candlelight processional. It just gives you the best chance of getting in, especially on nights where there's someone super big going, like Gary
Right.
Sinise or Neil Patrick Harris.
Which I would have
Um,
loved to see Neil Patrick Harris.
right. So on some of those nights, it's really hard to get in, and that's when the lines get super crazy.
And I think Whoopi Goldberg does them as well. Uh, Gina Davis was there the next day. So I mean,
Yeah,
they have famous people coming and doing the narration.
right.
I do want to bring this up though. There was somebody who collapsed during the show and seemed like they were having a seizure, and the medical team had to rush onto the stage and take them off. So I was concerned about them. So that kind of took me out of the moment too. So maybe that had something to do with why I didn't necessarily like it so much. I don't know. I was very concerned for that person.
Yes, I was too. And I think a lot of the audience was, honestly. They tried to be as discreet about it as possible while out actually helping the girl.
Yeah.
I really think that that particular part of the choir, I want to say was probably high school students, I'm guessing, from somewhere that came in to sing. I don't know that for
Don't
sure,
know.
but they looked relatively young. And so it could have been something where they locked their knees and just passed out and then kind of had a seizure because of it. I don't know.
I mean, it did have a lot of flashing lights. So if you have the photosensitive epilepsy, then maybe you want to skip the candlelight processional just because of the flashing lights that they have. I don't know if it's every show. Maybe it was just that show. I'm not positive. I've only been once, so I can only tell you my one experience. But just know that going in.
Good point.
Okay, let's go ahead and get on to day two. What did we do day two?
So most of the family went to Hollywood Studios that day.
Yes, my favorite park.
Hmm. And my husband and I took our two youngest, our 3-year-old and our 10-month-old, to Magic Kingdom to Harmony Barbershop to get their first haircuts.
So how was that?
It was actually a really great experience. We did not call like we should have at 180 days out to make reservations, but we were lucky enough to call the previous day and they had a cancellation. And so it was only for one child and they squeezed us in and said, just make sure you go early before your reservation and ask if they can fit your other child in. And that's what we did. Apparently, they have 3 walk ins available every hour. So you have to go in first thing in the morning to reserve one of those spots for later in the day.
Oh, very interesting. And I mean, this is legitimately just a small little barber shop within Disney, right?
It is. They had 3 little chairs in there, like an old fashioned looking barber shop, the pole outside and everything. It was very cute and quaint. The ladies in there were super nice. We had 2 different ladies cutting each of our children's hair, and they gave us a lock of their hair, a certificate saying it was their first haircut and the date, and they signed it. And they got some cute little Mickey ears that said my first haircut on it.
Oh, that's very cute. I didn't see the Mickey ears. I didn't know about the little certificate that they got along with the lock of their hair. It's very
Yeah.
interesting,
So it was $25 each.
which
But
is
you got
pretty
some
good.
little
That's a good
mementos.
price.
It is because you got the haircut plus the little keepsakes.
Right. And this is not anything that I have ever heard of before.
I heard of it probably about 6 months ago, and I was like, ooh, I want to do that. It was perfect because our 3 year old has super long hair, our daughter, and we call her Rapunzel. And we just trimmed a little bit off the bottom, but it was kind of sad. 3 years of growth, all gone.
Well, you needed to do it eventually, so
That's true. Good point.
there is something that I did in the middle of the day that I was pretty excited about. Our assistant decided to get up very early, go to Hollywood Studios, and get me a boarding pass for Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah. Thanks, assistant, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. No, he is my personal assistant. And I demanded he go and get me a boarding
Mm.
pass.
Yeah, I think he was just nice enough to offer, is more
No,
like
he
how it went.
he definitely was. Your husband got up very early in the morning that day and got a boarding pass for him, but decided that it would probably be better for one of us to experience the ride to talk about on the show. So he decided to let me ride, and you actually got to do the same thing. He got up very early for you on another day for you to get a boarding pass. So
That's
I
correct.
think we're going to save this ride, which I was very excited about for the part 2 of this bonus episode. So let's go ahead and talk about Ohana because Ohana was our dinner reservation.
That's correct. Ohana is family style dinner, and it's Asian inspired, Hawaiian inspired, maybe.
Yeah,
And
it has Asian elements to it.
yes, the pot stickers, the noodles,
Yes,
it's very Asian. This honestly was my favorite restaurant that we went to, food wise at least.
I 100% agree with you on this.
And the thing is, I keep hearing horror stories. There's people who love it and there's people who hate it. And I was on the fence about keeping it just because I keep hearing such bad things about it lately. But
Like
I can tell you it was delicious.
what are the bad things that you've heard?
I've heard bad things about the steak, just bad service in general, but our waitress
Blasphemy.
was amazing, like food coming out cold and things like that. But I did not have that experience at all.
Okay, so the first round of shrimp were a little colder than like fresh hot off the grill, but I mean, it's a restaurant. It's a buffet. They are literally bringing all this food to your table whenever they have it, and there's a lot of people eating, so it's a lot of constant moving of food around the restaurant. You're gonna get something cold from time to time, and it's not gonna be like very cold. It's gonna be just not as hot as it's fresh off the grill.
Now, I guess we should kind of specify the shrimp, there was steak. Was there something else? I can't remember. They came on skewers, so it was kinda almost like a Brazilian steakhouse where they come around with the meat on a stick
Yeah,
and put it on your plate. So it wasn't something that was just brought to the table in a big platter.
right.
So just so people can get a visual of what it's like,
I think all the food there was amazing. I
especially
literally
the
could not
bread
stop
pudding. Oh
eating.
my god.
I could not stop eating. I ate probably at least like 10 pounds of food.
Well, it is all you can eat, so you gotta get your money's worth, I guess.
Oh, yeah, because it's not cheap. But the bread pudding at the end, so
Oh,
our waitress kept bringing more because she wanted us to post stuff on social media, which if you saw the boomerangs that we posted on the Instagram account, which is also linked to our Facebook account, and you see the little boomerang of the caramel going on top of the bread pudding with the ice cream. That was because our waitress kept coming over to our table with more bread pudding plates so that we could do boomerangs.
it was awesome. She was so great.
Nobody was eating them. We were not going to be able to eat all of it, but
I
she
think
was
we had
so
already had
excited.
2 by that point.
Yes, we had. But she was very excited about us doing social media posts. So we had to indulge her, I guess.
Man, I wish we remembered her name. We should have definitely put in a guest comment for her, a
I think
cast
it
member comment.
was I think it was Patty, right?
Possibly. Maybe we have a picture that has it in it. We'll have to go back and look
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Patty.
because she was really good. I really liked her.
Yes. She was fun and you could tell she was tired. She was at the end of her shift, but she was still pretty fun.
And personable and nice and anything we needed, she was really great.
Yes. One thing that we didn't mention, there was a ukulele player that walked around the restaurant that sang some songs, and she was very talented.
She was. I actually thought it was
A recording.
a recording, and then I saw her walking around. I was like, "Oh, it is not a recording." She was really good. I think the only thing that would have made that dinner better is
A bigger
if we would have
stomach.
had, well, besides that, if we would have had seating out the window so that we could have seen the fireworks. We had a reservation right during Magic Kingdom's fireworks, but we were sitting on the opposite side and could not see them. So I think that would be the only other thing that I would have really enjoyed.
Yeah, we could have probably asked them for a table closer to the windows, but it was pretty packed.
And I wasn't paying attention to times when fireworks were going to happen or anything. I was just really hungry and excited to try there.
Yeah, it was a great call because I absolutely love it. The next day, day 3, we went to Be Our Guest for breakfast. And this was my second time to eat at Be Our Guest, but the first time we went for lunch. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I think that I like the lunch better, but this restaurant is really beautiful. Beauty and the Beast themed, obviously. So you have a lot of those elements, and I still did not get to sit in the West Wing, which I was really upset.
Oh, you should have said something. I was just trying to find a seat we could all sit at.
Yeah. The West Wing is a little bit smaller of an area, and it's dark. So it seems like it's more of a dinner type thing.
Possibly, I was kind of concerned about having my 3-year-old and 10-month-old in there because it does lightning and thunder and it's dark and you can't see. So I liked where we sat just because it was a lot brighter and it was a different room than what we sat in last time.
Right, because we sat in the main hall the first time.
Right. And this time, I'm guessing it's considered the library.
Yeah, I would say that's what it is.
Yeah. So we sat there and it was nice. And you got to see the Beast and Belle dancing in the middle.
Right, it's like a statue that's on uh, a little
A
rotation.
yeah,
Yeah,
rotating pedestal. Yeah.
right. Yeah,
It was nice.
it was very good. I like Be Our Guest a lot. You know,
I do too.
not just the food, but also just the atmosphere is really
Uh,
nice.
it is really nice. One thing I do want to mention is that it's a set price. So children's meals are one price and adult meals are another price, and it doesn't matter what you get on those. Another little tip is that adults can order off the kids' menu if you want to, which I actually did.
You know, I found that to be the case at a lot of places, actually, that you could order off the kids' menu and it would come with a larger portion, but you would pay a little bit extra.
Well, be our guest, you're actually ordering a kid's meal, so it's not extra and it's not any bigger portion. It's the actual kid's meal.
The actual kids' meal. Okay.
Right. So I think it was $13 instead of like 20 something dollars for the adult meal.
Yeah,
But they have totally different offerings for adults than they do for children.
they do. I absolutely loved what I had. I had the croissant donut. It had caramel on top with banana, and it was very good.
Okay. I had Nutella crepes, and that was surprisingly not on the adult menu. So I was very happy with my meal too. So for our dinner reservation this evening, we went to 1900 Park Fair, and the characters at night are Cinderella, Prince Charming, the evil stepmother, Anastasia, and Drizella.
Yes. So all of the Cinderella characters.
Correct. Now, I have to say, this is one of the best character interactions I've seen.
Well, you're a little bit biased.
Well, they did really well, let me rephrase that. Anastasia loved my 10-month-old son.
Anastasia did. She claimed him.
She claimed him, put a big old smack on his forehead. That was who she was going to marry, and Drizella was not too happy about it.
She was not.
I don't know, just the evil stepmother, her facial expressions and the way she treated people. I mean, she was so in character, and I feel like all of them were. The only slightly disappointing one, I think, was Prince Charming, who didn't seem very charming, but maybe that's just me.
I think that might just be you. I think that all of them did a very good job. Obviously, some were better than others, but I think all of them were above average at best.
I do think that they were all good. I just think he was the least impressive out of all of them.
Okay, that makes sense. So this is a buffet, and they had a lot of different options. It didn't seem like everything was true to one specific culture. Am I wrong on that?
No, they had things that seemed Italian, some
Yeah,
that was Asian inspired, then your traditional American type food. It was a little bit of everything.
right. And this is at the Grand Floridian. So I thought that it would be a little bit more focused on the style of food, but not that it was bad because it wasn't. It was good food.
It was good.
It was probably like the third time that I had salmon on the trip. I had a lot of salmon this trip. I'm gonna be honest, but I don't know. It was all pretty good. I liked it. The desserts were a little bit lacking, I thought,
I agree with that.
but the entrees were really good.
They were. Everything I had was really good. Now, one thing I want to say that was really fantastic, and I don't know that you had any, was the strawberry soup. Oh my, that
I
was
did not
yummy.
have any of it.
It was really good. So if you go to 1900 Park Fair, you definitely need to try that soup.
Day 4 was pretty good, I think, for our reservations. We were at Hollywood Studio for the second day,
Right.
and we went to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge,
Correct.
and we had a reservation for Oga's Cantina. This was something that I wasn't sure I was going to like so much, and I absolutely loved it.
It was pretty fantastic. I was kind of on the fence about having this one as well, just because it's basically a bar.
Yeah, it's just a bar. I mean, they do have non alcoholic beverages, but they don't really have a lot of snacks. They have like one or two,
Right,
and majority of their menu is going to be alcoholic beverages.
right. And it's mostly standing room only. There are a few booths, but it felt very immersive. And I know that's the thing with Galaxy's Edge, but this bar, you could feel to me like you were on another planet and hanging out with some aliens, you know? It just had that feel to it. And it was very interactive. They were playing like bar songs and getting interactive with it. It was very cool.
Yeah, it's something that I found very impressive about Galaxy's Edge is that everything there is designed to put you into that universe. And I absolutely love it. So, Oga's Cantina, we had a couple drinks. I didn't have any alcoholic beverages, so I can't really talk about those, but the two that I had were very good. My daughter had one. It was a carbon freeze, and it had the little fruit bubble pellets in the bottom of it, and they put some dry ice on the bottom, and then they pour in the concoction that they give you as a drink, and it makes the little fruit beads flip around, and it's really fun. I
It
made a
is fun.
boomerang of that too.
Yeah. We had we tried three different things. We tried the blue milk, and it comes with a sugar cookie or a cookie. It's not necessarily a sugar cookie, but it was really good. I kind of really enjoyed the blue milk and had to have it again another day. Then we had another non-alcoholic drink, and I am forgetting the names of these, but it came in a porg cup that we got to take home with us, which is super cute.
Yes, the most expensive thing on the menu.
It actually wasn't the alcoholic version that had the other one we got
Okay, yeah, yeah,
that had alcohol in it. You could buy that cup too, and that one was like $45, but we did not get the cup with that one.
yeah.
But the poured cup was much cuter anyway. So we definitely got those. Um, I really enjoyed my drink and the blue milk. I was not as much of a fan of the alcoholic drink that we had.
Yeah, I can't say. Again, I did not have any of the alcoholic beverages. So we did end up getting one of the snacks that they had available, and it seemed like it was a bunch of like veggie chips almost with some kind of salsa. I don't know. Like I ate it, and I still can't really explain it. So
I
it
was
was it
actually
was
sitting
decent.
I was sitting at the other end of the table, so I didn't get any of that. I didn't even realize there was food on the other end of the table.
Yeah. So our parents ordered that, and they demanded that I try it, and it was good. But I don't know. I wasn't.
That impressed.
Yeah, I wasn't that impressed, and I just wasn't prepared to like snack on anything. If that
Gotcha.
doesn't sound weird, because it's me and I love to snack. But I think that if I were to go again, I would definitely try to make reservations again for Oga's Cantina
Me
and
too.
try some more of the menu.
It was really, really fun. Now you do have a time limit going to Oga's. I think you have 45 minutes um, to enjoy because there's a line outside waiting to get in this place.
Yeah, there is. And like you said, it's mostly standing room only.
And if you don't have a reservation, you are not getting in.
No, they will not allow you in. Uh, but I do want to mention this. There is a droid DJ, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's really a really cool place to go.
I would highly suggest pretty much anything in Galaxy's Edge. Our last reservation that we're going to talk about. This was on our fourth day. We went to dinner. This was Mama Melrose. This is an Italian restaurant within Hollywood Studios. And we got this on the Phantasmic dining package.
That's correct. So with this, you get your meal. So you got your main entree, bread for the table, um, a dessert, and a non-alcoholic drink. And the
Yes.
dessert wasn't something you got to choose. It was a sampler of three different desserts.
Right. And we'll get into that here in just a minute. Amanda, what did you have to eat?
I had chicken parmesan.
Okay. I had the same thing. And I thought it was amazing.
I thought it was very good for chicken parmesan. Um, the noodles that came with it to me were a little underwhelming, but the chicken itself was really good.
I thought it was all very good. I would definitely eat Mama Melrose again. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised they didn't have like a lasagna, to be honest, because that was kind of what I was craving.
Yeah, it was kind of surprising. But I do want to talk about the dessert. So the desserts that they had like a small sponge cake, they had a
Hmm.
tiramisu, and they had a
Hmm.
cheesecake. But the
Right.
cheesecake had the mango little beads on top.
That was delicious.
I thought they were great.
That one out of the three, that was my favorite. The sponge cake was very good, and it had a blood orange drizzle on top, which was surprisingly good. But the cheesecake, oh my god, that was yum.
I wasn't a big fan of the tiramisu. Uh, the sponge cake to me was okay, but I mean, hands down, cheesecake was by far the best.
Oh yeah, I could have eaten a big slice of that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And we did have like two extra desserts on the table. It's just I could not eat anything else because I was so full. But I think your 3 year old fell asleep, so she didn't get her dessert. And then
Well,
somebody
she
else
fell
just
asleep
didn't.
before dinner.
Yeah, she
She didn't
did.
eat anything.
She was exhausted. I mean, to be fair, most of our family was sick this whole trip. So
That is true.
how I avoid it, I don't know. I'm gifted, I guess.
Lucky.
Yes. Let's talk about Phantasmic for a little bit though, because that was the last thing that we did on this particular day.
Right.
So we have been to Phantasmic before,
Correct.
and this is an absolutely amazing show.
It is. I really enjoy Phantasmic. Now, my only complaint, if I had one, was it was cold and windy
And it got you
and
wet a little
it
bit.
got you wet. Yes. And being sick, it's not the best scenario. But
Right.
our seats there were with this Phantasmic package. They are right in the middle of the theater, so you have a great view of everything.
Yes.
But if it's windy and you don't want to get wet, don't sit very close.
No, you probably shouldn't sit close anyway, because the that water does kind of shoot out at times pretty far.
Right. This was the only nighttime fireworks show that we actually sat and watched in the parks this time.
Yes, we did catch a few pieces of shows, like walking to hotels and stuff like that, but we didn't actually stop. Like we didn't do the Very Merry Christmas party. Uh, we did walk through the fireworks at Hollywood a couple times, but we didn't stop and watch them. We were always going from one thing to the next. So I do think that that is one thing that I kind of missed is some of the nighttime shows.
I definitely agree with that. That is always one of my favorite things, especially the Magic Kingdom fireworks, is watching that at least the night you're leaving. seeing that as your last memory before you go home is watching the Magic Kingdom fireworks. So
Right.
that was a little upsetting to me, but it's okay. I'll be back. I also wish I could have seen Epcot Forever since it's only going to be there a short amount of time.
Right.
I wish I could have seen it because I don't know if I'll be back again before it's gone.
Right. And you're going back fairly soon. So within the next 3 months.
Possibly. We aren't 100% sure yet.
Okay. Well, hopefully you get there and hopefully it's still there so that you can see it.
Yes, that's my plan.
I am very jealous because you were talking about going in October for the Halloween party, and I'm very jealous.
I am super excited to go to that, honestly. We have not been in October before, and I just really want to see the Halloween party. I think it's going to be a good time. And my then 4-year old is going to love trick or treating down Main Street.
Oh, yeah.
We plan to hit the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. And then at the end of the trip, hit Mickey's Very Merry Christmas party. So we'll get 2 parties during one trip.
Oh, that should be good.
Yeah, I think so.
So I guess let's go ahead and kind of end the episode and kind of talk about what our favorite part of the trip was in general. Amanda, what was your favorite part?
That's a great question. I I liked being able to do experiences that I have never done before. We rode Slinky Dog, and my 3-year-old loved it and still talks about it every day. She wants to go ride Slinky Dog again, and she got to ride twice. Um, so just experiencing the new dining, different snacks that I've never had before, seeing my 3-year-old enjoy herself and be able to ride the big kid rides, Tower of Terror and Splash Mountain. I mean, that's really fun to me.
Okay, so I'm glad I said choose one, and then you were like, everything.
Yeah. I just love Disney World, so, it's hard to choose one.
No, I completely understand that. And if it wasn't for the fact that my favorite part was really being able to take my daughter, who is 8, on Tower of Terror and her just pure enjoyment of everything Tower of Terror. Obviously, if you listen to the show, you know it's my favorite ride in the park. It is now her favorite ride in the park. We rode Tower of Terror a total of 8 times in the 7 days that we were there, and 7 of the 8 times that we rode it was in the dark. So whenever it's nighttime, they obviously do a little bit more. They let you ride it just a little bit longer, and they give you that full like up and down at the very end, and she absolutely loved it. So that's my favorite part.
That's a good memory to have.
Oh, for sure. And she got into collecting pins, and one of the pins that she wanted was specifically from Tower of Terror.
Yeah. It was a cute pin.
It really is. I love pins. I'm not going to get into it because I could talk about them all day long. Okay, so let's go ahead and end it there and go ahead and say that we will have the next 4 days coming out pretty shortly.
Yeah.
Let's get into a little bit of mousekeeping. We're not going to read a review since this is not a full episode. We're going to kind of shorten up the mousekeeping a little bit. We do want to say that next episode is going to be our second part of this bonus episode where we talk about my 3 days, and Amanda, it was your last 4 days.
Right.
But we do want to go ahead and say this. We didn't say it at the top of the episode, but Emily was not on this episode because she was not with us at Disney World. She will be actually going to Disneyland next month.
Right.
So hopefully we can get her to do something very similar to what we did with this episode and talk about her trip a little bit and, what she was able to do there and what her favorite part of Disneyland was.
So if you're interested in having a great vacation like we just had, follow me on Facebook, Amanda Haas, Capture the Magic Vacations.
And I highly suggest booking Amanda because she plans out so much and you will be tired at the end of the trip, but it is well worth it.
And I can plan as little or as much of your trip as you want. You could be hands on or let me take the reins and go with it.
If you let her take the reins and go with it, she's going to book you an amazing trip. I promise you will be doing just about everything that you want to do. So, besides that, I also host a couple other podcasts. I have Hi Hungry I'm Dad, which is a pop culture advice podcast, and also The Mundane and the Arcane, which is a D&D 5e podcast. It's an actual play show, and I do it with three really close friends. I also am the co-founder of Forge Audio Network. It is a podcast network that is focused on everything pop culture and comedy and anything that you could imagine under the sun. And we have a good, diverse group of not only shows, but also hosts. So you can find that information and those other shows at forgeaudio.net. And as always, thanks for listening. You can also be a part of the magic by following the show at T3M Podcast. That's T, the number 3M podcast on all social media platforms. Leave us a 5-star written review and we'll read it on an upcoming episode. If you have an announcement that you would like to make on the show or just want to reach out to us, you can send us an email at t3mpodcast@gmail.com. And since Emily's not here, have a zippity-doo-dah day.
See you real soon.